Welcome to the Research Arsenal. Of course, the heart of our database is being able to use the filters and keyword search functions effectively to help save in frustration and time. So the first thing to understand in trying to search our database is that there are two distinct different search sections in the database. First, we have the individual filters that go up and down the main column, and then the text search box at the top. If possible, narrow down your search first with the filters in the columns before using the text box. The reason for this, like general text search engines, is that anything you type into the text box will come up. However, it may not be exactly what you're looking for. So for instance, in the text search box, if you type in John Hunt Morgan in an effort to look for that famous Confederate general, then you will pull up all results for John and anything with Hunt and anything with Morgan in it. So obviously that is exactly the opposite of what you want. You're trying to narrow down to any search with specifically John Hunt Morgan, but you end up with more results than you wanted because it comes up with, again, anything with John, anything with Hunt, and anything with Morgan. A better way of doing this, for instance, is using the individual filter on the column. And there you can type the first name, middle name, and last name in those text fields and pull up exactly what you're looking for. So when it comes to using the text search box, less is actually more. And what I mean by that is be as broad as possible within the specific scope of what you want to look for. Additionally, note that our librarians who tag the photos, documents, letters, and all the other images that we have on our database basically label them exactly as they are on that document. So in using the example of John Hunt Morgan, there are documents labeled John Morgan, other documents with John H. Morgan, and still other documents with John Hunt Morgan. So when you do your search, you have to keep this in mind, and maybe a good start is just searching John Morgan, first name John, last name Morgan, in the individual filters box to begin with. So now let's dive right into it and start at the top of the filters and discuss the best way to find exactly what you're looking for. So the first filter you can actually use is the dates filter. As with all of our filters, each data field is independent, and so you can just put the year or just the month or just a day, and it will pull results for whatever you put in. Again, try starting as broad as possible and working down from there. So if you were looking for Gettysburg related items, I would include June and July of 1863. If you put specifically only July 3rd of 1863, you will end up with results of documents of only that specific day, and you'll miss the entire campaign before, the retreat afterwards, and so much valuable information beyond that. So instead of looking for just July 3rd of 1863, you can type in just June of 1863 and then add another date of July of 1863, and that will pull up the entire campaign of Gettysburg and any image or document or letter that you may be looking for in that specific image type. The next filter you will find is the Armies filter. Here you can filter by all Confederate or all Federal armies, or you can narrow down to specific armies like the Army of the Potomac or Army of the Tennessee. So after the Armies filter is the unit filter, and this is where the bulk of our users spend most of their time because most of us try to research a specific unit. Here you can choose the exact regiment that you want to look at, and as always, only fill in the drop-down fields that you need. As you can see, you can specify US or CS, which corps, what regiment number, what state, and of course, what branch. For instance, if you search for the 1st Minnesota Infantry, we strongly recommend only putting in 1st for the regiment, Minnesota for the state, and infantry for the branch. So of course, while it's obvious that the 1st Minnesota is a federal regiment, documents that list them may not be marked as US specifically in the document, and you might miss those documents. Because again, we tag exactly how they're labeled in the document. Same with the company. If you choose a specific company, you will miss out on many overlapping documents that may not have any specific company noted in those documents. So the next filter that you'll come to is the ranks filter. This comes directly from the individual tags of the images, letters, or documents, so that anyone in the image or anyone in the letter that's mentioned, we will put them as as they were, either a private or NCO or whatever rank they were. You will see that you can choose an entire rank type, like all NCOs or all generals, for instance, or you can choose a specific rank. And so using those same general rank categories, you can choose individual ranks like first sergeant in the NCO category or brigadier general in the general category. Of course, those are just examples, and we have all the other ranks listed that you may want to search. And we specifically tag the photos like that because it helps find images or documents with individuals with that specific rank. Please note that some individuals have been given a rank that they achieved after the photo was taken, and this is noted in the photo as rank at the time of image or rank not at the time of image. Now moving on, after the ranks filter, we see the individual names filter. Here is where many of our users search for specific names, ancestors, or people they are trying to research. So whatever you put in each data field is what it will pull up. If you misspell a name, it will just come up with no results rather than close ones. Again, this database isn't like Google and suggests misspellings. It lists exactly what you type. So also, as we mentioned at the beginning of this video, we have many documents of the same individual that were tagged slightly differently based on how the actual document listed it. So again, we recommend starting with just the first and last names and see what you find. And then you can build from there. Try the middle name, middle initial, or full given name. Just know that there may be many documents of that person you are looking for without the middle name listed, especially if the image or the letter didn't list it or specify it. So the next main section of the filters column is the locations filter. Here you'll be able to filter all the documents or images from a specific state, location, or even specific battle. The states filter is pretty straightforward. Whatever state the letter, photo, or document was created in is the state that we listed, if we know it. Many images do not have a location, as of course many of them are unknown. Keep in mind that documents from state regiments, again, were listed where the document was created, has nothing to do with the state that the regiment was from. So for instance, the 3rd Pennsylvania, who wrote a document in Virginia, will be listed as Virginia as the location, not Pennsylvania. Keep in mind that the locations filter is kind of interesting as it has whatever specific description of location that the document or image had. For instance, it may say a camp along a specific river, muster, encampment, specific fort, or simply an established city. You kind of have to play around and see what specific locations are listed to use this filter effectively. Also, at this moment, you'll see a pop-up that notifies you that the locations filter will significantly bog down the search engine. We are working on that right now, but keep that in mind that try not to use the locations unless you really need to search what we have. Try to use the state filter or other filters to narrow down your search. So moving on, the last locations filter is the actual battle filter. This filter lists all battles or campaigns as they are listed in the ORs or the official records battle index. If you do not see a campaign or a specific battle in the drop-down list, then unfortunately we don't have anything in our collections that explicitly mentions that battle. Also keep in mind that images taken at a battlefield later on, say a year or months later, we do not tag for that battle. For instance, there was many winter camps at Brandy Station. We did not list the Battle of Brandy Station or tag Brandy Station battle to those camp images because of course that has nothing to do with the Battle of Brandy Station. That just happens to be where they are. So then if you're looking for camps or specific locations at Brandy Station, you would go to the locations filter, not the battles filter. So then moving on, we get to the next general area of filters, and this is where kind of the fun begins. And these filters are image or source specific. So for example, the next one is whether it's a portrait or a field image. This filter will only be seen on images and not letters or diaries for obvious reasons. And this allows you to only look at, say, field images or only look at studio portraits. This has helped our own research greatly as we can easily filter out a large portion of posed portraits when we are specifically looking for a field image of a wagon, on a battlefield, or again, vice versa. The next filter you can see is whether you're dealing with a mounted or dismounted image. This is a simple checkbox that allows you to quickly find any image with a saddled horse in it. Again, this is specifically for images and does not apply to letters, diaries, or documents like that. I had to put this in here for my cavalry friends. So again, every image that has a saddled horse in it, whether the guy's actually on top of it or not, is marked as a mounted image. This allows you to view all the saddle, the reins, and all the details for, of course, the horse lovers. So for example, if you want to find all field images of people with horses or on horses, you simply click field images, filter out all the portraits, and you have just field images. Then you can click mounted, and then all of a sudden you have all the images that are in the field with people on or with saddled horses. Now moving on, the next filter is the weapons filter. Here you can click on an entire family of weapons like rifles, pistols, bladed weapons, and bayonets, or you can pick a specific weapon like a Spencer rifle, Springfield, or Lorenz. But keep in mind that if we weren't absolutely sure, we mark the weapon as an unknown rifle or an unknown sword or saber. So there are a lot of rifles and swords marked as unknown because in the image they're either too far away to really tell, or they're too close up in portraits and we can't see the details of the stock or the lock plate to really give us an idea what it is. So keep in mind there are a lot of weapons marked as unknown if we weren't actually 100% sure. And lastly, you will see the source or call number filter box. Here, if you know exactly the source or even the call number for the image or document that you are looking for, you can quickly weed out all other images or documents and just focus on what you're looking for. So for instance, if you're looking for just Library of Congress images, National Archives microfilm rolls, or anything from a partnering state archive, if you know their specific call number or box number, this allows you a quick way to filter down to just a specific source and find what you're looking for, all without having to travel to that archive. So okay, that's all the filters. Let's go back up to the top and talk about the text search box. So again, whatever you type in that text search box, you will get any record in any order of what you type in there. However, one thing that is nice is that if you want to narrow down your search to just the transcription of a document, or just the notes section, or just the title, or just the call number, you can do that by clicking on the three dots to the right, and you can toggle which fields that you want the text search to look at. So here you can see that you can filter by keyword, image name, anything in the notes, the actual transcription, or a specific call number. So personally, I use the text search filter and toggle everything off and only search the transcriptions anytime I'm looking for a specific keyword, whether it's in the letters or diaries or general orders. So for instance, if I'm looking on how soldiers wrote home about how rainy it was, or rations, or food, or contraband, specific keywords in my research, I can click all the toggle switches off, keep the transcription box on. Therefore, whatever I type in, all the results will come up with that word in the transcription only, and it will not pull any notes or any other titles that maybe I'm not interested in, because like for instance, if I want to know how a soldier wrote home about being rainy or wet, I want to know that in the letter it says rain or wet or whatever the keyword is. So that's the quick rundown of the text search box and all the filters. There is so much more that I want to cover and other features that we offer. But for now, we'll leave that good. Happy searching and have fun.